Hi, I'm at ClojureScript, or at least that's how I think it is pronounced, and this is a video form of the Quick Start document in the ClojureScript tutorial. So I've been recording a bunch of ClojureScript videos, and I thought instead of starting somewhere in the middle, I might as well start at the beginning, and the beginning is pretty much this document. This talks about how to use the ClojureScript compiler on a pretty basic level, and I'll follow the document and write all the code, and you can follow it, you can watch it, you can write mean comments. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy and you find it useful or something. The only requirement for this one is basically a Java 8 runtime. So if you have this, you're probably set up. The other thing you need is the ClojureScript jar that you can download from the document. This is basically all you need. And yeah, with this in place, we can actually start making some directory where we will put our stuff. In here, we set up a basic Clojure project structure, which looks something like this. So you have a source folder, and in the source folder there's like another one for the namespace. In this case it will be hello world. Well, here we go. Inside we will add a core CLJS, which will be our main file, and yeah, let's edit the file. So here we can write ClojureScript. Again, here is the namespace, this time with a dash instead of an underscore. This is a convention and it's important that you follow it, otherwise the compiler will complain. Another thing that's pretty much at the top of every ClojureScript file is the enable console print, I think. And then we want to print something like hello world. There we go. So this is a very minimalist, very basic ClojureScript file. And so the download has finished, which is very good. Let's keep the file. So we want to move the jar into our project folder, so it sits at the root. And so we have a ClojureScript file. What we still need is like some kind of build file. This time it's Clojure, because of the CLJ ending instead of the CLJS. So we want to edit it. There you go. And in here we require the CLJS build API with the tick to tell the compiler that it shouldn't evaluate the symbol. And on this API we can call the build function, tell it what to build, and some options like where to put it, the output to out main.js. That's basically it. With that in place, we can call plain old Java, put the CLJS jar on the namespace, on the class path, put the source folder on the class path, call the Clojure main function, and give it our build script. There we go. And now it is compiling our ClojureScript into JavaScript. So we now have an out folder. We can look what's inside. There is a main.js, and there is some other stuff that we'll get into in a moment. Oh, there's still a thing missing. We need an index.html, and edit it in Vim real quick. HTML. There you go. Body. And we will reference main.js, reference our compiled JavaScript. And I shouldn't try to type fast, then I would be faster. So with this in place, we can open the thing, and what we get is an error message. which is as intended. So if you follow the tutorial, you will end up here as well. The reason for this is basically, the reason for this is that ClojureScript makes heavy use of the Google Clojure compiler. Those names are purely coincidental. The Google Clojure library is just an insane amount of Google engineering hours put into it. Has lots of features, including a namespaces. It just has everything. There's also that code elimination, which is probably the most important. Well, it's a cool feature, yada yada. But in order for our script to run, we still need to reference the Google Clojure library. So here we go. We will get rid of this boilerplate later, so that it is a minimal, just references the main.js, but for educational purposes, this is what you do. So we reload it, and this time nothing happens, which again is as intended, because we're still missing something, which is to require our namespace, which is called hello world core. There we go. And now when we reload the document, this is when we see our hello world print message. So now we want to get rid of the boilerplate code. So this part and this part, we just want to reference the main.js here, as I promised earlier. And the way we do is by adding a bunch of, well, actually just one option to the compiler, which is to tell him the main namespace. Again, with the single quote, yeah, which is not well supported by most editors, which is hello world.core. There we go. Now we can compile it again. Did I miss it? Probably missed it. Here we go. And now, if we reload it, we see hello world again. So next we want to add auto building, which is actually pretty easy. All we have to do is, well, we copy the build script and call it watch. And really the only difference is that this time we call the watch function. There we go. And now if we run it, again here, difference is that it says watch. Now what we can do is we modify the document, reload it, and there is the change. One more time, back to the original, and yeah, here is the compiling, and as you can see, it gets faster. So yeah, that's incremental builds. So the next thing we want to do is set up the ClojureScript browser REPL, which I think is one of the coolest features of ClojureScript. What it allows you is to execute ClojureScript here in the console, and then it will be evaluated in the browser, and the result will be sent back to the REPL, so to the console. So yeah, the way we go about this is, first of all, we copy our build script one more time. This time we call it REPL, and we have to include a bunch of extra stuff, namely the ClojureScript REPL and the ClojureScript REPL browser. There we go. And we call it like this. We provide the environment, which is the browser, this REPL and we tell it to watch the source folder, and this will allow it to reuse the compiled JavaScript. So yeah, that's the REPL build script. We also have to modify our core CLJS a little bit. Here we include the Clojure browser REPL as REPL, and what we do is def once. This is in order to make sure that this will only be executed once, even when hot reloading. And here we do REPL connect HTTP localhost 9000/REPL. So there we go. Now we can. Oh yeah, and the article recommends that you use RLREP, so you can install it via Homebrew. What this basically does, it makes the REPL input easier, so you can use the arrow keys. You can you have a history of previous commands, stuff like that. I already have it installed, but yeah. So RLREP Java, again the class path thing. We'll know this stuff called Clojure main, and this time with the REPL CLJ. Whoops, not with an S. Okay, made a mistake. What did you do wrong? Browser.REPL. Clojure. That's the French version. There you go. Waiting for browser to connect. So now we go to localhost 9000, and this could be a little bit tricky sometimes. So it says hello world, that's good. Sometimes you have to reload a couple of times. Let's reload. I don't really know why this is the case. When using Figwheel, that doesn't. Figwheel always seems to work. So yeah, for whatever reason. Also, changing the focus seems to have an influence. But yeah, I'll do it one more time. Yeah, there it is. So now we have a REPL, and now we can execute. We can execute the ClojureScript, and it's being evaluated. And in order to prove to you that this is indeed in the browser, we call the alert function, and there you see it is executing JavaScript from the console in ClojureScript, which is amazing. Another thing you can do is, so let's define. Oh yeah, I already defined the function. So we have a foo here. And what we can do is we can require our namespace hello world core as hello, and of course we don't want it to be evaluated. There we go. So now we have hello foo 1.2, and it's being evaluated. We can change it. We can reload the namespace, and now if we, yeah, now it's addition. All right, that is the browser REPL. So, and finally we are doing production builds. So in order for this, we copy our build script one more time. This time call it I think release. Open it. There you go. And the only thing that is going to change this time is optimization advanced. We don't need this anymore, I think, because it's gonna well, actually I think it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think, oh, and we have to get rid of the REPL specific stuff, of course. So we are back to our old file, and now again we call it via Java release CLJ. This time it's going to take a little bit longer. Oh, yeah, I did mean optimization. How do you know that? Oh, I did mean optimizations. There you go. It is going to take longer. Maybe not that much, but yeah, what it is doing, it is performing the whole tree shaking. So it will go through the entire Clojure standard library, I guess, and figure out which parts which parts I'm using, and it is going to throw out the other ones. So it is done. Well, actually, let's do one more time. Only this time, let's delete the alt folder first, so you can see what it is actually generating. Oh, here we go. And let's see what's in the out folder. Actually, there's more stuff than I thought there would be, but I think we only need the main JS. So yeah, let's restart this one. So it is certainly printing it, and it's printing from some kind of main JS. You can see it is minified. We can also see that it is yeah, 92 kilobytes, which is, I guess, pretty small. At least it's smaller than jQuery. And yeah, that's advanced compilation. I don't know what else. Yada yada yada. Let's see, is there anything? Oh, actually, yeah, we should have added this one, because the advanced compilation is starting up a thread pool. So yeah. So there would be there are further chapters in the document about running ClojureScript on Node.js, and again with the REPL, but dependencies. Yeah, this will be. So I'll not be going over the over this one. I mean, it's really cool that it works with Node.js, but at least for me, there is currently no use case. And then there is, of course, but of course, I'll put up the link in the description so you can check it out yourself. And then yeah, dependencies. I guess this will be an entire video just about those. And of course, Lanigan. This is probably the next video I'm gonna to do, which shows you. Well, actually, the content will be different, but yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video about I don't know, something else ClojureScript related.